So Hytale adds a tool that I don't think you fully understand the capabilities of. That's why I want to take some time today to share with y'all what this tool is and how to get its full potential. The entity tool, the entity brush, is a tool that you can get in creative mode, and it is primarily used for things like, obviously, spawning mobs or NPCs. There's even a little menu. You can even just click on NPCs and stuff, but there's actually a third use that most of you probably don't even know about, and that is building. On the small scale, you can do very simple things like this diorama right here, or on a larger scale, you can do more complicated things like this here. So today, I want to put this into practice and drag all of you along with me. To show this off, we're going to need a canvas to work on, and I thought it'd be really cool to actually try and do some sort of water wheel with this technique. But for that canvas, I already started doing a little bit of a river and some terraforming on my own, but all I need to do is actually build the main structure. So I'm gonna go on. So I'm gonna go on ahead and get that together, and then I'll pull you guys back in once it's ready to actually start working on some details. Okay, so now we have our canvas, basically, because you might be thinking, Jay, this doesn't look good. That's okay. It's not supposed to look good yet. This is all part of the process. I superseded doing like windows, doors, any kind of detail really, because I really wanted this to be an opportunity to use entities and the entity brush. So I'm going to work on a window design first, I think, and I'm gonna then like copy and paste that from like wall to wall. So why don't we get started on that? All right, so it is time to actually go over how we're gonna use this. So first you're gonna press tab, go to the creative menu, and we're going to get the entity tool. So after you have the tool, you can press E, and then we're going to actually go to items, and we're going to get stuff there. So I'm going to start with some beams. We're going to get softwood beam, and then you just right click and it will just appear. Can I do multiple? I don't think I can do multiple. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to rotate it so it's facing the right way, and then we're going to spawn that in. Okay, and I'm going to use this to start detailing this wall. I need to make sure I have my reference image up. I'm not copying anything particularly, but I do have a reference image of just a build in this style, just to have something to work with, because if I tried to do all this myself, I'd be losing my mind. Okay, so you can see, you can get the general gist of how we're going to do this. But this is a process that's going to take a lot of time, so I don't recommend doing it for details this big, like a whole wall. If you're going to do that, try and scale it down a little bit, try and use larger items and make it easier on yourself. But this is a video, and I want to show it off. So another useful tip is when you go to tab, go to your creative menu and slow your character down all the way and scroll this in, and you can get a more precise placement of these things. So tab, clone, and go up. Place. Alright. Tab, clone, and go all the way up. And this is... Oh. Hold on there. There we go. This is just an example of how you could use this. I'm not that crazy, so I'm not doing that on every single wall. But I do want to do some details here. I do need like a bigger beam, so let me see what we actually have for option. No, I think we're also going to run into the same issue. So let's actually go back to beams, and I'll show you another cool thing we can do. So softwood beam, we're going to up the scale of this. So I might be able to get away with actually just using one. So let's spawn this in. And place that like there. Oh my goodness gracious. That looks silly. Anyway, that does work though. I think I'm gonna go with that. Okay, so I'm gonna clone it. And go over here and do the same thing. And also, just for the sake of saving myself here, oh, I messed that up. We're gonna need to back over here. Okay, just for the sake of like saving myself here, there's no interior. I have no intention of building an interior. This video is not about doing interiors. So yeah, just in case you were wondering, you might be able to get some artifacts where you can see it through on the other side, which I'm not worrying about today. That's for future Jalen. Okay, so now that we have this worked out, I don't actually want these that big. So we're going to go back to square one, and I'm gonna get a little design going, and then I'll pull you guys back in. Okay, I have a couple themes, but I wanted to give you guys another quick tutorial. So once you click on the item, you can press E to have more precise movements in the X, Y, and Z direction, and then you can press R to be able to rotate it, which rotation is what I need right now. I'll rotate it a full 90 degrees right there. Oh, not quite 90 degrees, like that. Okay, and now I can get back to work. Okay, I have a crosshatch that I'm happy with. Now I want to actually do the window. So let's go here, and let's see. Let's see what we have. Let's go with Lost Civilian. Okay, and let's shrink this down or enlarge it. Let's enlarge it and spawn this in. To do that, and I'm gonna need to correct this a little bit. All right, that looks good. That honestly, that looks good. I'm not super worried about stressing myself out over this, but I can go ahead and add a little window sill. So let's go back and do shelf. What's a good looking shelf here? What's a good looking shelf? I think I'm just gonna do the large crude shelf. I'm gonna enlarge that to be a good size. All right, we're going to rotate that to match and then spawn that in. Oop, we did not want to grab that. I want to grab this and pull you out. There we go. Not quite right. Yeah, well, almost. Okay. Cool. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a flower. Let's do this. Yes, and let's shrink it down a bit. All right, spawn it in. Put it right there. Oh, that looks perfect. Okay, there's a little bit more details I want to do on this, and then I'm also going to do the rest of the building, and then I'll come back to you guys with our next steps. And here we have the transformation of what this can look like, predominantly using the Entity Tool Brush. It looks really cool in my opinion, and this isn't even what this isn't even what the whole video is about. So now that we have our base building to work with, which also I'm very proud of this as well, doing a light behind a window, it looks very cool. Now we can actually work on the water wheel, the water wheel. That's what I want to work on now, and that's what I want to work on with you all, and kind of go over my thought process as I do it. So I changed my mind. I think I'm just gonna chat over this as I build it, because this is gonna be quite an ordeal, and it might take me a while. Alright, loves, so let's get started on this, shall we? I ended up deciding that a beam in the center framed with a couple of crates was perfect for the like support, and then I decided to do this predominantly with the crude shelves. They made good, just like flat surfaces that I could angle and shape the way I needed to, and I ended up just doing that in like spot, 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 and I ended up making one, two, three, four 90-degree angles and then four 45-degree angles, and I thought that was like probably the best way to illustrate what this is supposed to look like without pulling all of my hair out, because this took a lot of time. It was a lot of work, it was a lot of creative energy, and I think I was staying up till like 10-ish, which is late for me. I know it's not late for a lot of people, that's late for me. I go to bed at like 8 o'clock, 7. So anyway, apart from the fact that I'm a granny, yeah, this was definitely a process. It took me some time. I learned a lot about this tool just from doing this, which is really useful. This is something I want to use in my builds just forever, always, if I can. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with future projects like this. After I was done the original shape, like the base shape, I went in with some beams and just angled them the same way. Some angles just to connect each of the paddles, and then that pretty much finished it off. Actually, there's not a whole lot to talk about other than the fact that this took some time. It's definitely something you need a lot of patience for, and I also, like, this is not perfect. This is if you went and looked at this under a microscope, this would look horribly off. Like, the angles are not right, it's not consistent, it's not a circle, but it looks good without doing that, and that's all I was really going for today. So I am happy with this, and we can actually hop out and take a look at the end result. So I hope you all were able to learn something today, and I hope you enjoyed watching my process. This is going to be all. Have an awesome day, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!